Hey Flops! Hola! Welcome to this video where I will be discussing my biggest reading. Let's just get right into it because I'm gonna upset some people and I apologize in advance. So yeah, if you like these books and I don't like these books, that doesn't mean they're bad books. It just means, like I said, they didn't fit what I was expecting. That's it. Please don't get mad at me. Let's just go.
Hi, it's Editing Megan. I just wanted to say that there will be spoilers for pretty much every book I mention here. I do keep the name of the book on screen so you can just easily skip ahead if you don't want to be spoiled. But yeah, let's just hop right into it, buddy boys.
Drum roll, please. Our first book is The Witch's Heart by Genevieve Gornichak. And one of the main reasons that I'm upset in this book is included is because I purchased it full price at the beginning of the year. And if you know me, you know that I don't really purchase books full price that often. I typically buy used, or I get most of my books from the library because I do not have the finances to support my reading habit. This book, I was really excited for it because I'm a huge Greek myth retelling fan. Song of Achilles, don't even get me started. I love that book so much. So I had really high hopes for that book, and that's why I picked it up, because it looks cute. That was pretty much the main reason. It was a genre I already liked, myth retelling, and the cover was cute. So I was like, okay, sounds good, let's read you. Yeah, that was a mistake. So I think a lot of my issues with this book are that it was, boring. So in this book, we meet Angrboda, and she is a mystical person. We don't really know who she is. She doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know what she is, but she lives in the woods, and she stays in the woods for a majority of the story. She just is in a cave for most of it, and she falls in love with Loki, everyone's favorite mischief maker, Loki, and he's not a good husband. He's cheating on her. They have several children together. They're all kind of fucked up in their own unique ways. They're all kind of monsterish, which is part of it. And the end of the story is Ragnarok, which is the end of the world. I thought the book about the end of the world would be just a smidge more interesting. I would say about 75% of this book takes place in that goddamn cave with this girl, Angrboda. What else happened that I found not so interesting? Yeah, so there's the whole Ragnarok, the world dying because of her children that she bears, the monster children. They're taken away from her. She's like, no. And then Ragnarok happens. I read this book a really long time ago. It was the second or third week of January. So my memory of it isn't good, but my memory of my not liking it is strong. So overall, let's just hit the bullet point. Boring. It wasn't written poorly. I just found there was no life to it. And I think that was my main issue. No life, nothing going on. Our next book is actually two books. It is the Ballinger Sisters series. We've got I Know What You Did Last Summer and Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. I didn't go into these books thinking I would like them. So I think that made the experience a little bit different. So here's kind of a little bit of background. I picked up Hook, Line, and Sinker, which is the second book in the series, at the library on my rapid read shelf. And then I was talking to my friends, Nicole and Jess, and they were saying that they had read the first one and it wasn't good and I wouldn't like it. So I was like, okay, I won't read this book then. But then I took an adult snack and wanted to read something that wouldn't take up my brain. And I was like, oh yeah, that one will do. Let's read that book. And I just read 100 pages of it, so I was invested, so I finished it. I read Hook, Line, and Sinker first, and I think I read one of the worst lines I will ever read in my life, and that was, Maestro of Female Wetness. Yeah, wow. I wish I didn't have to say that, but I just want you to know that that was written on paper And someone paid money and purchased this book to read that line. What? If I had not been intoxicated, I think I would have closed the book, set it on fire, and then give my library the money to replace it. But I was just kind of along for the ride. I did close the book immediately and lay down in my bed for about 10 minutes and just went, no, I can't, no. That couldn't have been no. And then continued to read it. So, I think it's my own fault. And then after I read the second one, me and my friends were talking about it. They hadn't read the second one. I hadn't read the first one. So we're like, okay, well, why don't we just finish it off, the reading of it, just so we can all complain about it. So then I read the first one. And I have to say, I think I like the second one better. I like the sister Hannah a bit better. Because she's less annoying. Piper's annoying. Piper is like an Instagram influencer. And she throws this party and gets like arrested, and her stepdad cuts her off. So she moves back to this like fishing town where her and her, like before her dad died, where her and her mom and her sister all lived with their dad. And he owned this bar. So her thing is like, I'm gonna fix this bar so that I can go back because fuck this. And then of course there's a cute sailor who is very rude and disrespectful to her, and she falls in love with him because he's hot, obviously. I had a little bit of issues with the man, Buddy. I don't remember his name. Fisherman. Big fisherman. You tell me this man hasn't had sexual relations in 7 years, and he's doing all that the first time? If you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about. This is a smutty book. The smut wasn't that great because it was like, you're really saying that this man has not had sex in 7 years, and the first time he does, he is eating the booty? Like groceries? Okay, sure, yeah, sure, okay, yeah, sure, fine, yeah, okay. That was the problem with it, was like this man was so grumpy, and then all of a sudden, he is just doing anything she wants all the time, and she doesn't really have any redeeming qualities that make him want to do that, other than the fact that she's super hot. This man is not interested in her from the get, so her being super hot like does not matter to him. And then he gets to know her. She doesn't seem to have any redeeming qualities, and he's like, yeah, that's the one. I'm gonna take my ring off and get with this one. So that was fun. The second one, I also had a problem with the male guy. He's a player, and his hold back on not wanting to get with Hannah, the cute girl he has a crush on, is because he's too good at having sex, and he doesn't want people in the town to know that they're together because they all know that he's really good at having sex. So I read other books this year with a similar plot where like the bad boy player gets with the good girl and he's like, I can't be enough for you. But this one wasn't like, I have a bad reputation, I don't want you to have my bad reputation. It is, I am too good at having sex and I can't expose you to that because then you'll never leave me. And I can't have that. Huh? Okay, sure, buddy. Sure. Okay, yeah, all right. These boys are silly goobers, in my opinion, and the things they do are weird, and their thought processes are also weird. So I would not recommend these books. If you want something smutty and easy to read, then sure, go for it. I'm sorry, if you like these books because you like smut, go for it. But it wasn't enough for me. I have read books that were like, kind of, like I said, I read a similar one. What was it called? Let me Google it. I have a better recommendation. If you like the idea of like the bad girl, the bad guy who's like a player, and the good girl, read The Deal by Elle Kennedy. And that's like a hockey book, so it's slightly different, but it's actually really cute. And there's like a valid reasons why he doesn't want to get with her, and there's valid reasons why she's like hesitant to get with him. So if you want that kind of premise, read that book. It is also smutty, so that's my recommendation for you. Just don't read this book, read that book. Okay, let's move on. Our next book. I'm mostly the problem here because I had different expectations than what the book actually was. I have this weird habit where I like just don't read the synopsis of a book, and I kind of just go off of like the title, the cover, because a lot of the times the synopsis just ruins what actually happens in the book. So I went into this blind because Reese and her spoon recommended this book. Miss Reese Witherspoon said, yeah, this book's good. So I was like, okay, sure. It is The Christie Affair by Nina de Gramont. The whole book is set in this time period where Agatha Christie finds out her husband is cheating on her and disappears for 12 days. 10 days, give or take. And I was like, that's super interesting. I found out about that, throughout the world. And I was like, that's super interesting. So I saw this book and I saw that it was about that time period. I was like, that's really cool because, Agatha Christie was this murder mystery writer. So like, what the heck was she up to when she went missing? If you want to know, don't read this book. Technically, yes, that is featured in this plot. But actually, it's about this girl who had a really depressing life. And the whole book is just her going, trauma, trauma, trauma. This is my trauma. I'm sad, my trauma. And I understand that. There's a time and place for that. But I wasn't expecting that when I picked this book up. So the idea here is that Agatha Christie and her husband are splitting up because he's cheating on her with our main girlie, Miss Trauma. And the reason she has decided to seduce Agatha Christie's husband is because she thinks that him and Agatha adopted her child that she had at a nunnery and had to give away because she was like a teen, like an unwed mother. So the whole thing is she wants to take the child and make it her child because she thinks it's already her child. But we don't know if it's her child. So she's just a baby stealer and we just have to be okay with it. Huh? What did Agatha do to you? She didn't even know. Apparently she wasn't even at this orphanage. She didn't even see Agatha Christie. She just saw a man leaving with, adopted her baby and left. And she's like, yeah, I'm gonna ruin his life. Fair, he's not a very good guy, but that was weird. The only parts of this book that I actually liked were Agatha having a good time because she's run away from her husband. That was the only part that I actually enjoyed. Other than that, I don't recommend. And they're actually making a movie out of this, and I won't see it. Our next book is another one of I had the wrong idea of what this book was, but I actually read the synopsis, so that one wasn't my fault. And that is Harlem Shuffle by Colson Whitehead. I had super high expectations because I read The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead, and that was amazing. And he has a Pulitzer Prize. So the expectations are gonna be high when you win that. I'm sorry, that's just kind of how life works. This book I thought was gonna be a heist. It's set in the 60s in New York and Harlem, and there's crime, and they're doing, shady dealings. But it's not actually that. So we have our main character. He owns a furniture store, and he's trying to pull himself up by the bootstraps. He had a hard life growing up. His dad was a criminal, and then his mom died, so he didn't really have anything for most of his life. So he's trying to make a better life for him and his wife by opening this furniture store, but he's not making enough money, so he has to do just a little bit of crime. He has this cousin who also likes to come in and just kind of ruin his life all the time. And at the beginning of the book, it's kind of cut into 3 segments. So the first segment, they're doing a little crime. They do a heist at a hotel. And you think, wow, that sounds interesting. A hotel heist, robbery? That sounds at least fun. Yeah, they kind of cut that all out. The only thing we really read is the when he's deciding, should I do the crime? Should I not do the crime? Should I do the crime? I should do the crime. I shouldn't do the crime. Maybe I'll do the crime. And then he does the crime, and then that's it. Then we go to part 2. I found every time I actually got interested in the story, the part ended, and then we moved to another time in his life. So part 2 is after the crime. He's kind of dealing with the repercussions because it was a mob situation, a gang situation, and he's dealing with it. And then part 3, again, he's just dealing with the repercussions of this first heist that we didn't even get to really see. I thought it was just me that didn't like this book, but when I checked the reviews on Storygraph, it's a 3.5, and then all of his other books are 4.5. So it wasn't just me that didn't like this book, but I was just kind of disappointed. I think I will still give, I want to read The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead, which came out before The Underground Railroad. So I do still want to read that because that one's got good reviews, and he's an amazing writer. It's just I feel this book was a little misguided in what it focused on for me. I'm sure there's other people that loved this book, but it just wasn't for me. And our last one. I'm sure the reason maybe why you clicked on this video is because I put this book in the thumbnail, and now I have to have to explain myself. So let's just get into it. So the last book that I was disappointed with in 2023 was Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. This is hard for me to say because I know not liking Sally Rooney on BookTube is like a very controversial opinion, and people probably won't like that. And all of my favorite YouTubers love Sally Rooney, which is why I have given her 2 chances. I read Normal People and didn't really like it. And then this summer I was gonna give Conversations with Friends a try. My friend Jess, who also didn't like Normal People, said that Conversations with Friends was better. So I was like, you know what? I'll do it again. I didn't like it. I'm sorry. The writing is not the problem for me. That's not, like, she writes very well. Once I got into the book, I was like, I didn't want to put it down, but I didn't want to pick it up either. That was the more of the issue. Every time I read a Sally Rooney book, I go into a book slump, like a reading slump, because I never want to pick it up. Once I do, I can kind of get into it because, like I said, her writing's good, but it's just not for me. And the weird thing is, it's not like I don't like books where the main characters are stupid and make stupid decisions and like ruin each other's lives, because I like the adjacent books to that, like Cleopatra and Frankenstein I liked, which is just people making mistakes. My Year of Rest and Relaxation is just one selfish girl ruining her life and everyone else's life because of reasons. So it's not like I don't like those 2 things, because I think that's one of the main reasons people don't like Sally Rooney, is they don't like to see characters just be stupid. Another thing I was annoyed with was it felt like we were just kind of checking boxes in terms of what we had to do. So like we start off and our main character, she's sad. Her life is horrible. Her life really sucks. And then she's gonna meet someone and she's gonna start to make some mistakes and make her life way worse. And then she's gonna be like, I feel politically about this. And you're like, okay, interesting. And then she's sad about her life and all of the things that have happened because she made the decision to do those things. And then she's gonna make some more mistakes. And then we're back here where she's sad again. What happens in this book is we meet our main 2 characters. They're 2 friends who do like poetry together, and they used to date, but they don't anymore. And they meet this married couple, and our main girly like falls in love with the husband of this part of this like married couple, and then they start a tryst. I think where this book lost me is pretty early on, and it's more about the politics that she says, because I find it a little hypocritical. She's like, the most like ethical thing I can do is do nothing, is not have a job, is not to contribute to society in any way. It's just to write poems and stay home. But the reason she can do those things is because her dad's giving her money. So like that's not the most ethical thing you can do just because you can do it. It's like similar to, I guess, My Year of Rest and Relaxation, where she's doing pretty much the same thing. She's like, well, I'm just gonna remove myself from society and she has the money to do that. I don't think she ever thinks it's like the best thing to do, like it's the ethical thing to do. By the end of the book, you think, oh, maybe they're gonna start making some better decisions. They're not together anymore. She's no longer sleeping with the married man. Great. Then, the last page, she sleeps with the married man again. What? Huh? As I said, I'm not saying this is a bad book. I'm saying it's not a book for me. I am sorry that I don't like it, and I genuinely mean that, because I would love to be in the Sally Rooney fan club, because it seems like really fun, and the people in it seem really cool. But it's just, I'm never gonna be that, and I need to kind of give up on Sally Rooney, I think. I'm interested to hear people's opinions on my opinions that I have shared in today's video. If any of these are your favorites, I'm sorry. If you enjoyed any of these books, just because I didn't like them doesn't mean they're bad, or doesn't mean you should have not enjoyed them. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm sure there's a ton of books that I like that maybe you don't like, and you think I'm stupid. So that's fine. That's completely fine. I am stupid, so you're right. But I just thought I would come on here and rant a little bit, because it's fun, and it's easier to be funny when I get to complain about things than when I'm like, this book was really good. I loved it, actually. Yeah. If this video didn't completely turn you off of me as a person, please subscribe and stick around. I'm gonna be putting out some different videos. I think this kind of finishes my intro to me videos that I want to do, and I want to maybe do some reading vlogs next. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day. Bye.